at the end of that game, essentially, Haruka could have stepped down from being an idol and decided to go back to Okinawa. But then, since she was found out to be related to this Yakuza guy, basically she got kind of sort of mobbed on social media, and her presence was putting the orphanage that's down in Okinawa that Kiryu and Haruka used to kind of run together. It was kind of putting them in sort of peril. So she decided to leave.
All right.
And during this time, Kiryu's been in jail. He's been kind of paying penance for the stuff that happened.
He does that a lot.
He likes to.
I always tell people he's a wonderful person. Not always the best at being a Yakuza.
Right. He's out there being he's in jail, and he gets out, and so of course he goes back to Okinawa to find Haruka because early in the game, if you've played first part of the game, he knows that she's down there, and he shows up to go to the orphanage, and no one knows where she is, and he's like, what's going on here? And so now Kiryu has come back to Kamurocho looking for her in Kamurocho, and what you're currently doing is you're actually looking for Akiyama.
Oh gosh! So we were talking before the stream started, and I was telling you that I was replaying Yakuza 4, which is actually my personal favorite, and you asked why, and I said, oh ho ho. So because of Akiyama.
Yeah, so it's very fortunate because we're going to be popping. So Kiryu has heard that Akiyama has reverted to his sort of homeless ways and is hiding out in the sort of shadows of Kamurocho, and we're right here. We're basically at a point where he's about to finally kind of catch up with him.
For sure. For those of you who kind of don't know some of the stuff still for Yakuza, this is a character called Shon Akiyama. He was a sort of, I guess you would just call him like a moneylender, right? Like a loan shark of some kind.
Yep. But one with a heart of gold.
A wonderful heart of gold. And he's kind of related, like the way he gets his money, he's kind of related to stuff that happens at the end of the first game with Millennium Tower and a bunch of stuff. So it's really cool. So this is my favorite character in the series, and I'm super, super excited. Oh, look at you Wonder Boy. There he is. So when you are dealing with these stories and everything, do you get caught up in the tosses and turns of these characters too as much as I do?
Oh, absolutely. The challenging thing about localization especially is that so when the dev team is writing these stories and writing these characters out, they're already coming from a place of they know what the character is going to be. They know what they need to say, and they don't necessarily need to say everything because in their head the motivations are kind of in their head.
Right.
However, us on our side, on the localization side, we aren't the developers. We're not implicitly aware of what the motivations are. We only see what the text is.
Yeah.
So it's very one of the challenges is to try to kind of get in the character's head, and then if there are any gaps between what the text is saying and what the motivations are, we have to make sure that we reach out to the developers and ask them why is he doing this? What is his motivation? So we can make sure that what's being translated ultimately, or what the localization is ultimately is reflective of what they're really trying to say.
So I guess one thing that I'm actually interested in terms of that process is how is that presented to you? Because I know sometimes when people are doing translation or localization in your cases, sometimes, especially a while ago, it was here's a spreadsheet, here's all of this, just go through it. Are you given anything with a lot more context? Is it just a list of lines?
It's just a list of lines.
So you see that line that's, I don't even know what it would say in Japanese, but you have to sit and take that and go oh, we're gonna localize this as, oh, I'm a fisting artist, or whatever.
Exactly.
Which I think is a line that has gained a lot of infamy from Yakuza Zero when Bacchus is talking to Kiryu near the start of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, but no, we still get just lists of lines. Sometimes we don't even get video.
Oh wow.
But obviously, if we just translate a file into English. Without any sort of reference, without any sort of video, we don't consider that to be done. We have to go back and confirm it and make sure that it's matching what's actually going on in the scene, because sometimes it's not really implicit on just the text as to what's happening and what the character is actually talking about.
How often do you think that you end up writing something that you revise or something that you hear, from the developers no?
So typically we don't. So the developers are not typically reviewing our text on a line-by-line basis.
Sure.
Obviously, they wouldn't necessarily understand it anyway. But part of our responsibility as a localizers is making sure we're flagging things that could be contentious
Yeah,
or
some
could be
sort of
confusing.
concern.
Yeah, and we make sure that we engage those guys. So okay, so
So
I
we
do
got
want
some triad.
I do want to talk what's going on right. So
Yeah, of course.
this guy Ed is like he's sort of so the Chinese mafia are moving into Kamurocho. They're sort of throwing their shoulders around, and they've actually been after Akiyama. And
Oh, my poor boy.
Kiryu has kind of accidentally led these Chinese mafia to Akiyama, and so that's kind of what's going on.
Do I get
here.
to fight with him?
Yeah, you're about to jump right into it.
Wow, like I'm gonna be honest, this was like a little bit of a rough Tuesday. Wasn't really having a lot of coffee or anything. I think it's Tuesday. Who knows? The day's a blur. And I guess getting to play with Akiyama and fight with him feels pretty good.
This is a pretty good fight. So, but it is sort of a boss fight. So you'll have to bring maybe not your A game. Maybe
I think I'll be
your B+
okay.
game,
I hope I'll be okay. We'll see.
Yeah,
should be all right.
But the background of what's going on here in Kamurocho is that the Chinese mafia have moved in.
Yeah, they're kind of shuffling in.
They're kind of giving the Tojo clan and all the other guys, because the Tojo clan's still sort of in a slightly weakened state. Even after events in Yakuza 5. Yeah, it's kind of left sort of open for the sort of foreign element to kind of move in and sort of take the reins. And they've also actually built out this entire new Chinatown area within Kamurocho that you can explore in
Oh, nice.
6 as well.
I do like one of the things I really do like about these games is seeing how the city changes a ton. I think a lot of people were surprised, especially if they played the older games and then leapt into Yakuza Zero and been like, whoa, where's my wonderful big Millennium Tower?
Yep. We often in the office we sometimes refer to Kamurocho as like the silent protag.
Oh, sure.
Of the game. Because the Kamurocho is a character in and of itself. There's character progression. It changes over time. Its motivations are different. So the city in and of itself is sort of a character.
Oh, look at that. So we do get some really nice heat action stuff going on here, too, between the two of them. Oh, that makes me really happy.
Yep. So Yakuza 6. This is the engine this is built on is called the Dragon Engine.
Dragon Engine.
And it's something they completely built from scratch for this title. All the Yakuza games to date, up to and through Yakuza Kiwami, have all been essentially running on an evolving code base that was started with the very first Yakuza on PS2. But Yakuza 6 is the first time they've essentially gone back to the drawing board and rebuilt everything from scratch. And there's a whole bunch of new stuff, especially in the fighting engine, that redesign has ultimately enabled us.
That was one of the things. I mean, not that I'm going to sit down here and give the pitch for the engine quite as much, but I do remember going at E3 and seeing a lot of different changes that had taken place, especially when you're exploring the city too. You don't have to wait to get into fights. There's not as much loading or anything like that. So I like that sort of thing, especially. It's awesome to see the city grow and look a little bit better, but I really do appreciate the fact that stuff moves a little bit faster, which is really, really cool.
There's all these kind of under the hood changes where their punches and kicks actually track to certain parts of the body.
Right.
There's a lot more blending going on, so it just it feels better.
Yeah, look at that. That feels nice. Oh no, he grabbed me. I thought I had him. I wasn't paying much attention. You got it, Akiyama. I'll be over here. Oh crap! Whoa, he is really.
He's coming for you.
I thought I was gonna go away from him. That's a bummer. I was gonna let Akiyama take care of it for me. My boyfriend. So we got him. Nice.
So in this game, they've kind of changed
some of the experience
the leveling system as well. So you have different categories of experience, and then you can spin those against different skills and upgrading certain kinds of things. So
yeah. Whereas something like Zero was kind of all based. There was some trees, but then it was kind of here's all your money. Invest in yourself.
Invest in yourself, yeah.
Which is a wonderful, silly little concept, I think.
Comment, yeah. That mechanic was awesome. The whole sound of that game when it was
when it's loading up
money,
it's a very good one.
Yeah, it's good sound design.
So I actually want to jump back a little bit to talk about the localization thing. And I wanted to ask a little bit about you, because I think there are probably some people who will be watching this or people who are interested in Yakuza who ask themselves, how do I get involved in that sort of thing?
Right.
Was that something that you had said to yourself, I'm going to work, doing localization for games or anything like that? I don't think a while ago we young Sam was like, yes, of course.
No,
I will do that.
It wasn't. I definitely. I don't think. I can't say that I set out to do this sort of thing, but I'm definitely glad it ended up this way. There were a lot of sort of things aligning to enable that. But yeah, I got into the industry, the console side of the industry, in about 10 years ago, working at Atlas.
There you go.
Doing console localization stuff, and leading up to that, you know, I got a degree in computer science. I had a minor in Japanese. Spent some time in Japan.
There you go.
So
see, my father speaks Japanese, but I don't.
Oh, interesting.
Which is just he knows like all these languages, and then I decided to be the most boorish American and learn like a tiny bit of French.
Interesting. So, does your dad travel? Why does
he used to travel a ton. He used to do a lot of business. So he's trilingual. So it's English, Japanese, and Spanish as well.
That's a great set of languages.
He's got the good ones. He's got really good ones.
That's good ones. Yeah. No, this is the scene we often use in a lot of the trailers. This is where he's gonna find Haruka.
I think a lot of people just getting into Kiwami coming off of Zero will be kind of interesting. I think that it's kind of interesting to see like Haruka like grows up. Like it's so hard to remember like these games. They like now they start like in the 80s. Now they go like straight to today, and that's a ton of time.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest barrier of entry for people who've come in at Zero and played Kiwami, you know, Kiwami being number 1, and now you have to suddenly jump to 6. We understand it's a really big ask. So we've actually on our side we've actually gone and created this what we call the Yakuza Experience site, and it's got a whole bunch of like timelines and character profiles. But most importantly, it has these comics that we've been creating specifically for the West. These English-based comics that sort of.
I accidentally almost took a taxi. Sorry, didn't want to interrupt.
So you can actually go and read, and the point of the comics is to kind of help you bridge the gap between Yakuza 1, Kiwami, and 6, and not necessarily spoil what happens in the game.
Yeah, I think you get a sense of like, okay, so maybe I can just run into these guys, eh?
Yeah, you can just bump up into them and you're gonna start something.
Oh yeah, look at how smooth that is. Yeah. That's nice. That sounds like the most like. Look at how smooth that is. But I did like that. That was really cool. I was a big fan of that. I think like the website, like you're saying, or people trying to get into the game, I think it's a matter of knowing like, okay, some things will change to the Tojo clan or whatever. I'm just getting beat up because I'm talking. But maybe not knowing how that sort of thing happens. So like kind of knowing who Daigo Dojima is or something like that, but not necessarily knowing kind of like what's going on in like Yakuza 3 or whatever.
Exactly. I mean, ultimately, to really enjoy all the major emotional pivots, I mean, because that's what makes the Yakuza series so amazing. Are these great emotional moments, and to really appreciate that and not feel like you're missing it, you don't really need to know what happened before, but you do need to understand what each major character's sort of like emotional.
Yeah, you want to know a little bit about like where they're coming from.
Yeah, like what's their mind, what's their mind space, and so that is what those comics are meant to do.
Good old theater square.
They're supposed to kind of tell you, you know, like what is the relationship between Kiryu and Haruka about? What is the relationship between Kiryu and Daigo?
Are they going to catch up? They will. Yeah. Especially to know, to kind
of... They'll run you down. They
really follow me.
They really follow you now. Yeah, they'll chase you down.
I was getting all excited. I was going to... Right near Theater Square, I was going to maybe go play some games. I could later.
You could.
I think we do the story a little bit, and then we can explore a little bit.
Yeah, I think at this point, it's basically, I think you have to... You're looking for the. You actually do have to get in a taxi. You have to get in a taxi because you got to go to the hospital.
I was ahead of the curve. I could just stop by like Serena and like just chill forever. Yeah. So let's go to one of these ends and get inside a taxi then. Yeah, I was so correct. Look at that. I sabotaged your little save file.
Yeah. The game. Put the taxi right in front of you. Good guidance.
I don't know. I was so excited to run around Kamurocho.
You can always go eat some food and play some darts.
Well, I say let's hit this up and then we can walk around, maybe find a side story or something. I remember at E3 there was a Roomba, which was one hell of a little side story. So I think we have to go to the hospital. Is what I said. Kiryu looking good for an older
So
fellow.
we actually added these in, these like little.
Oh, look at
tooltips.
this.
Yeah, we there's a lot of like words and stuff that we throw around and terminology that we don't necessarily want to just like throw out the Japanese and translate.
Yeah, you don't want to completely do away with it.
So we ultimately these Yakuza games are a great educational kind of tool. You know, the more you understand Japanese culture, the more you get out of it.
I've definitely learned a little bit more playing these games and hearing like repeated phrases.
Right.
Not that I could pull any of them off the top of my head because I'm a forgetful person, but like you hear it and you go like, oh yeah, like I kind of follow some of what at least is being said.
Yep.
A little bit like that. Date, man with a very busy life.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff going on.
He's been around the block.
He has been a police guy. He's like owned like a bar and like a bunch of stuff. Done all sorts of things.
He's been around the block.
So something has happened to Haruko, which is not good. That's a bummer.
Basically, she's in the ICU and she got hit by a car.
Hit by a car.
But no one knows why or how, what's going on here. So they just know that she's basically unconscious. She's in a coma.
I was trying, when people ask me kind of like, what's Yakuza's deal? I tell them very plainly, oh, it's gaming's soap opera.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which I mean in the most affectionate way possible of, oh, it's this thing that has a lot of twists and turns and a lot of, oh, my sworn brother, and I will take off my shirt. And it's a game with soap opera twists and like a lot of people who just love taking off their shirts.
It's not just like it's not even taking off. It's like
a big
suit,
sweep.
You have a suit on and you grab your suit by the shoulder.
You're watching the stream. You can't see us right now, but we're both. It's this big.
Now I have no suit on.
Big little thing.
So
they make suits specifically for the Yakuza, so that they can take them off easy. It's kind of like when basketball player flips off their.
So they brought Kiryu in here, and it's like there's actually another thing you need to know about Kiryu. And he's like, what? And he's like, they're like, come with me.
Oh, I see. I can see where this is kind of going, huh? So she had a kid.
It's like, hey, Kiryu, you're a grandfather.
Oh.
Basically.
Oh, video game kids are still kind of weird. But they're still kind of cute. But they're still kind of weird.
I actually, as a father myself, I actually really appreciate, you could just back.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think I need to save over your saves.
You can, they actually do, there's a couple things in here that, you know, if you're a father and you've ever held like a 9-month-old or 10-month-old, there's some things that they put in the game to make it like work as far as like the drama is concerned.
Sure.
But outside that, like generally, like I really like Haruto. I think that you know it's a very believable character, and he's like super cute, and he adds a lot to the story.
Whoa, he's gonna hurt somebody with that thing. It's like taking up a bottle and hitting somebody with it.
Yeah, he's
already got the Yakuza in him.
He's already got the Yakuza. He's practicing his heat actions.
He's gonna take off his shirt and he's gonna have like a little koi fish on his back or something.
Maybe that's his next birthday.
Be like, what? You gave him Nishiki's tattoo?
Yeah.
What? Haruto. Oh, Kiryu's like the softest man in the world. He is so tough. I'm gonna gush about Kiryu. Look at how affectionate he was there for a second. Yeah. Even though he has beaten up at least the population of Illinois.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, there's a couple scenes in this, especially in this game, where Kiryu really shows his, you know, he shows how he's. Kiryu's always been a man who cares about others and sort of feels an emotional connection to people. But there's a lot of stuff. Some very critical scenes in this game where Kiryu really showed it, and up until now, like a lot of that has been, you know, still waters run deep kind of thing. But there are some scenes in this game where we're
gonna see some emotional Kiryu. That's pretty good.
But it's like his style of it's very subdued, but it's there. So that's.
Do you think Kiryu and Date-san have been wearing these outfits for the last 20 years?
No, I think that they have just a closet.
They just have a closet full of them.
They just went into.
Because I'm sitting here and I'm going, well, that is the red shirt, and I'm like, that is almost certainly Date's.
Yeah. I think he has just like 7 of them. He just switches. He's got one for each day of the week.
I think about that shirt. I think about I think it was Boing Boing. They had done the Yakuza review, Yakuza 3, which is a wonderful thing, where they're actual real-world Yakuza talking about Kiryu.
Yeah.
And I think one of their big things was like, yeah, he's kind of cool. Like, we knew a guy who ran an orphanage, but was like a tax shelter. And then they go, but that shirt, no. No self-respecting Yakuza would be wearing this maroon nightmare. But yet now,
well,
I love that shirt.
But that's the thing is, like, Kiryu has always been kind. I mean, because they talk about that in Zero a little bit, you know, like.
Oh, and he's going. It's like him and Nishiki going shopping for their suits and everything.
Yeah, because his whole thing was that he wanted something kind of boring, and then Nishiki's kind of like, nah, man, and then he's like, okay, fine, and he lives it up. But then even at the end of the game, he kind of switches back to.
Yeah, he does.
To his sort of personal style, which is a little subdued.
He
doesn't want to stand. I mean, that's kind of Kiryu's thing. He doesn't want to be in the. He doesn't want to stand out. He doesn't want to be in the limelight. Nah. That's like one of his motivating factors at the end of the day.
He's pretty chill.
Yeah.
So we do have this kind of big inciting incident at the start of the game, which I will probably ruin by going to play darts or finding a cabaret club. Is there a good cabaret club management in this? Please, God, say yes.
They completely revamped the cabaret stuff.
My heart leapt.
Yeah,
I had skipped that the first time that I had played Yakuza Zero, because I was just kind of like, I want to play the story. I want to know. I was like, I want to know what the deal is with Makoto and like all this stuff. And then I was like, oh no, I will stop and I will become the world's best cabaret club
Cabaret
manager.
is really, really good. Scott and I spent a lot of time discussing, how what the sort of, sound of each girl would be. Because that's one of those. So that's one of the things. Like the cabaret stuff, especially in Zero, you can really kind of ruin the interaction there if you're not really careful with the text. You really got to kind of design and shape the sound of each kind of girl so that the interactions between the girls and Majima are really believable.
I think that it could be very easy to kind of make that. Maybe even just design-wise, kind of very simple in terms of like we have these people, we'll send them out there or whatever. But like, I do appreciate that the game took time. Especially, there's that line where Majima says like, "No, the product is like the thing that we're selling here is conversation."
Right.
Which I always thought was really good that was in there.
Yep.
Also, because he's just. Oh boy, everybody has Majima feelings. He's like a good dude. So I played Zero and then I went into Kiwami because I hadn't played the first one since like I was renting it from Video Thunder down the street when I was a kid.
Yep.
And then I went back to it and I was like, oh, like he's like really intense. Like he goes from like here's where he's at in Zero, and then you get that time skip, and then you're like, oh, Majima, like you're doing a ton.
Yeah, what happened? Like what's your motivating factors here? And there's actually a lot of stuff that happened in that sort of 10-year time frame. I mean, some of that's covered in Yakuza 6 about what happened there. Some of it's covered a little bit on like
I was immediately
or whatever for Zero.
Yeah, I was immediately gonna say like, oh, like and then the Saejima stuff happens, but that hit that stuff's already happened before Zero has actually happened.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Jimmy Lowe.
Right. So this is part of the intrigue or whatever the story, and it gets a little bit more complicated. But essentially, what's happened here is that this guy's explaining to him like why the Chinese mafia are essentially kind of
they're kind of shuffling in again,
going to crisis, and it's because this like really important guy's kid was killed, and they're blaming it on the Tojo, and now it's kind of basically bubbling to the surface.
The two levels of Yakuza. The low level is like, I don't know, going to karaoke. The high level is, oh, let's talk about this intricate assassination plot that has kicked off this intense turf war.
Yep.
Let's spend 20 minutes telling you about the empty lot and why this tiny spit of land is so important as a realty speculation thing.
Right. I mean, that's part of the thing is like a lot of these plots, like they are kind of complicated, but that's the stuff that didn't make sense at the beginning of the game the first time you played through it. If you play it through it a second time, it's like, I see how all the pieces kind of fit together.
When you're doing localization on this sort of stuff then, and we're talking about kind of complex plots or anything, do you ever have to send questions back and be like, I don't quite understand.
Time.
So he's doing this, but like, does he know? Like, do you ever have to do that sort of specificity check?
Yeah. I mean, it's like sometimes sometimes we even find things that at face value would be considered plot holes.
Right.
But then after asking the question, they're like, the unstated thing that's going on here is X, Y, Z. That's why that makes sense. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, that's not anywhere in the game. So how would we know that?
What do you think was like maybe? I mean, I'm putting you on the spot here. Do you think that there was ever a big question that you really, really had that you sent back? Like that you had really confusion about or anything like that?
That's probably a better question for Scott, because he's gonna know something about that. But I will, just based on this conversation I was just seeing on screen here, one thing that did come up is the Sayo clan, this Chinese mafia, and whether we should try to so. There's this other Chinese mafia clan that appears earlier in the series called the Snake Flower Triad, and that's translated from the Chinese characters. It's literally like snake flower
boom,
flower
boom.
clan or whatever. But the characters for the Sayo don't have like a really pretty.
You can't really kind of break it up
like that.
Oh, son, blah blah blah.
Yeah, you can't really do that. So we actually had a big back and forth with the dev team trying to see if we could dig out pull out a meaning, some sort of equivalent to the snake flower triad. But at the end of the day, we were just there wasn't something that sounded
wasn't
like really
quite
succinct.
snappy enough or anything
exactly.
that fit in, because it's that balance between getting right, like it has to be that balance between getting people information and then also making sure that it has that proper amount of like actual character and color.
So at the end of the day, we just stuck with Sayo to keep it nice and clean and simple. I mean, honestly, it's very similar to like the Tojo clan. We call it the Tojo clan, but you know, like you could pull those to pieces. Dojima, even of itself, you could translate those if you really wanted to. So, yeah.
I think about what was it in the first game? They didn't say it was. They didn't do Kazuma and Kazuma.
Yeah.
They did. What was it? Shintaro.
They did Fuma.
Fuma.
Yeah. Yeah. It would have been. It is a little confusing, but you know, it is it is what it is.
I remember that
in Japanese,
one.
It's very obvious because the characters that they're using.
No, yeah,
it's
different.
Completely different. So it's not nearly as.
I remember that one particularly. Going into the later games and being like, who are they talking about? And then I was like, oh, yeah, they've changed their names.
I mean, I think one of the big things also in the localization of the original game was that they tended to lean on the characters like personal names rather than their family names.
Right.
So, which is that is a localization decision, sort of a westernization kind of thing, but. And it actually makes sense if you're dubbing the whole thing. You can lean hard into that if you want to.
There's a person here.
But for every game after that, since it's all Japanese VO, you know, we always want to make sure what you're hearing and what you're reading are like linked up together.
Sure.
So since they're saying Kiryu like all over the place, then we kind of need to have it say Kiryu.
I have to run.
Text.
I was looking at you because I was being drawn into your discussion, and then I was like, oh, this guy's like running and like messing up my day.
Yeah, this guy has basically Kiryu has spotted this guy kind of spying on him during that discussion.
Do you think he'll hide underneath a giant traffic cone?
Maybe.
That's my favorite thing in the whole game.
There's
giant traffic cones.
There's definitely still giant traffic cones.
I'm gonna pick all of them up and hit them.
I think. Well, there should be only one.
Oh my gosh, Kiryu, you're old.
I know he's been in jail.
Gotta speed it up. He's been in jail. He's like 70 years old. He's not 70. He's older though.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's very interesting, especially in Zero, to go back and see him. I thought it was really, really good. Can I not get as winded? There you go, Car. There you go, Kiryu.
Still can't outrun him.
No. It's outrunning inevitability. Yeah. You just can't.
Oh, he was protecting him.
Oh, I'm sure. So when you're looking, let's kind of go broader here. Mm-hmm. When you are doing localization, do you have a character that you really enjoy like taking care of their stuff for?
That's a good question. So I'm not intimately involved in the dialogue writing for any of the Yakuza titles. I'm kind of coordinating and and reviewing it. But I do really like how the team is rendering the Kansai dialect
for just kind of turning it into like a a little bit slangier.
There's a little bit more slangy. I think the traditional, they had some style guides that we used to apply to the older titles, like the Yakuza 5 and back, and the approach was this sort of interesting blend of like contractions with some Britishisms from time to time, just to give it this sort of like.
Now that you say that, I can definitely see that. So it's like keeping like all the getting off the G's and dropping off that, but also having like a lot of like blah blah blah. Or
yeah, right. So there's a lot of that going on to just make it sound. It's not supposed to sound like any particular location. It's just supposed to sound different than standard English.
Yeah, kind of informal, sloppier.
And that style was very easy to replicate from person to person to person. That's why we used it, because it didn't really matter who was doing the work. It was like just kind of write it in this style. If you see Kansai dialect, just write it in this sort of styling.
Right.
But starting with Yakuza Zero, when we kind of went back and applied a whole bunch of new, because we kind of reevaluated the approach to the localization styling, starting with Zero, and kind of updated it to sort of 2016 standards, essentially, and added things back in like, San and Chan and all that kind of stuff into the game, and the team sort of created this new style of Kansai dialect that's I think much more difficult to replicate.
Sure.
But it's also, I think, a lot more snappy and charming at the end of the day. So
I always wonder about how to hit those type of things. I think there are people chasing me. I was like, I'm going to go get like stuff from a Korean game. And then I went the entire wrong way. Now there are angry people chasing me, which seems to be the way that Yakuza tends to go.
Yep, everyone seems to always want...
you know what? I can beat them up and hit them with bicycles, so that's fine.
You can always, beating them up, you can also upgrade.
Oh, I could mess around with that, but I do want to hit him with a bicycle, because why wouldn't you?
Yeah, because you have to upgrade and unlock your sort of.
Yeah, you can take a peek at that for sure.
Your heat actions and whatnot. So.
Oh well, I have one little thing up, and so at least we're gonna traffic cone him. Oh boy, that must not feel good. What did he just say there?
He says basically like take a nap.
Yeah,
take a nap.
Stay down or something.
Take a nap. Yeah.
Putting you on the spot, on the fly translation. I was telling you before we started that our one of our video fellows, Tim Rogers, was doing some of that for
so it's gonna be the stats. Yep.
We were doing some of that for Final Fantasy VII, and he did a little bit for Xenoblade Chronicles too.
Yeah.
Which
so
I get the sense took a lot of liberties.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think in that game there's actually an English dub though, right?
Yeah. So I mean, some of that is like changing a name. What was it? Some sort of fire thing, they changed it to like Pyrrha or whatever, right?
Right.
That makes,
it was
like
was it
Homura?
Homura,
yeah, that's right.
So yeah, I mean, interesting localization topic. When you do a dub, you have to completely reevaluate how you approach the translation. You can't. You basically can't do a voiceover dub and have an accurate translation at the same time.
Right.
Like you got to kind of where you put your skill points. You could do.
Look at you. Look at what you just did there. I was putting in skill points. You did that. See, that's why you're a localizer. God dang. All right, we're done. All right, see you guys later. We're done.
But yeah, the dub always makes things complicated. You have to kind of pick your battles.
I do want to upgrade all my heat stuff. Well, no. What do I got?
So
left?
yeah, so you have these all these
I'm an E rank
the different
right
things.
now.
What is it? Health, defense, attack,
evasion,
and
boost my heat gauge.
So
of course I want to boost my heat gauge.
You build these up over time. Different activities apply different little stat bonuses.
Although I'm really worried about like getting my butt kicked while we're playing, so I'm gonna just give myself a lot of health.
Yeah, you can keep maxing. I mean, there's like
oh, I'm sorry, I don't have enough experience now.
Yeah, you can. There's 5 stars worth of stuff you can get there. So
look at that, slowly getting there.
Yeah.
I do like anytime menus are sort of vaguely diegetic, where it's like, hey, I can actually pull out my phone.
Yep. This is actual phone. This is an actual Xperia. We licensed it for the for the game. We
slow down.
I think we have to. I want to say that we have to every time we have a screenshot.
If I mention the phone.
Yeah, we have to actually put a copyright on the page or whatever.
Oh yeah, good. I love this. Kiryu loves his Nissan Versa. All right, I got these guys. I'm just gonna. They can't stop me.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
The throw is really good. So if you grab him and then press circle again,
Yeah, give him a good old chuck.
That's it. This one's like kind of.
Whoa!
It's kind of cloud.
Wonderful. I'm a big fan.
Crowd control.
And then of course, our bicycle time.
You jump.
Heat actions are terrifying. I think I like them, but then I also feel really bad for doing them every single time.
Yeah. But it's a little bit. It'll leave a mark.
Oh yeah. No, they're just sleeping. They're just napping.
Just napping.
Oh, he blocked it. Look at him.
Yeah.
Smart little guy. Kind of that rougher style. I'm so used to playing like just rush style from like Zeros so much lately of just like running around.
Yeah. This one. There's definitely like a different sort of strategy to the fighting. You have to kind of pick your. There's a little bit more baiting. There's a little bit more, dodging is really important. He's actually got a couple moves that you pick up later that involve like parries and all this other kind of stuff, which is really interesting.
This has to be the map, yes?
Yep.
Do I have any little side quests that I can check out?
Let's
oh
see.
my gosh, that messed with my mind. The tower.
Oh yeah. It's actually 3D. So any of these like little dialogue boxes, those are all different types of side quests. So I think this one you're mapping over right here was
bad guys there.
This is the gym side quest. The one down here, I don't know if it's kind of depends on the type of person you are, but that's the live chat one.
Okay.
And then if you walk around the other side, like over towards the Champion District and whatnot.
Oh, Champion District.
Then
Hiding down.
You might be able to run over there, I want to say.
More scary dudes. I'm going to beat them up, and then we'll find a little side quest and go from there. Has a nice little sense of impact to it.
There might be something in front of the Millennium Tower as well, actually.
Oh, that makes sense.
We are early in the game, so it doesn't, as you travel.
Why did I run into that?
Or as you move through the progress of the story,
you get more and more.
More quests open up.
So we'll hit that, because I think one of the things that really helps Yakuza if you're really good at those side quests. I think about Majima and that gosh darn cult all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Shura PP. Was that... Well, because they're saying it out loud.
Yeah.
Was there any temptation to ever be like, let's have them say something different?
So,
do you remember conversations about that quest at all?
Oh, yeah. I think we did have a conversation about it, but it was immediately like, well, they're already saying it, so we can't change it.
Right.
I do remember there was a lot of... I can't remember what the name of the cult is off the top of my head.
Oh, gosh, I can't even...
But we did have a huge discussion about, like, how to render that into English characters.
See, if this was like a I want to say like a Super Nintendo era game, you'd be making like all sorts of references like David Koresh or something.
Right. I mean, and that particular thing was just that at the time, back then, there was a a lot of discussion.
I have to head inside to talk to these people.
Yeah, you got to go inside. At the time, back in the 80s,
these guys are going to come get me. Whoa.
Well, yeah, they're angry.
Oh, jeez.
There was just like cults. The cults were like a big kind of thing going on at the time, so that was time relevant for the title.
Oh, he has a knife. That's not fair.
There's a heat action you unlock that specifically deal with dudes with knives.
Well, I'm gonna grab his knife if I can. If I can. Oh, he like bounced around like a ton. I'm trying to grab his stuff. Oh no, it's not there.
It's not there.
I got my hopes up for nothing. Wanted to show off people as many of these wonderful heat actions as I could, but I think I got this guy in a second. So I just go inside.
So you can go into the gym.
Yeah, let's talk to these
fellows. There's a lot of because this is so Rise Up is an actual gym in Japan. It's like
oh sure
24-hour fitness or whatever.
Let's talk to this fellow.
Like kind of the equivalent thing. This is an actual. This guy's likeness is an actual.
An actual guy.
An actual guy.
Good for him.
Trainer. And they So they did this tie up with this gym because Kiryu's a buff dude.
He's very buff,
and he's gonna walk you through this mini game. And the way this works is that you go in, you do 2 workouts, and you get like stat increases based on how you perform.
Oh, for sure.
And then you're supposed to then the trainer like gives you like a recommendation on like the kind of food you should eat. And then it's your job to go around town and find food that sort of matches those requirements.
I'm just gonna send him pictures of the worst ramen, of just like noodles.
And you send him the pictures, and he basically rates you on like if you did a good job or not.
Send him a single pitcher of like a stamina bottle, the sweat will start flowing. This guy's enthusiastic. I need to join a gym. I've been in the city long enough.
Yeah.
I think we should do it.
Yeah.
I think everyone in this room, we're going to the gym. We're going. There you go. There's more people in here.
I actually worked out this morning, so this
good.
is all the.
I have been eating better.
I've already done this.
Maybe watching Kiryu will give me the enthusiasm to do it myself. If he can do it,
well,
so can I.
I wish, I think it's everybody's hope that they can look as good as Kiryu when they're 47.
Gosh,
So.
I want to have a mane of hair, a luxurious mane of hair like that, man.
Right. So if you want to, you can continue the.
Talk to him again.
Talk to him again, and he'll
check it out.
Take you into.
100% ready to start training.
So these are like quick little mini games. I think you'll do 2 of them, and they're pretty simple. Shouldn't cause you too
I think we can run around and check out a couple of these small little things.
All right, so we got bench press, squats, deadlifts, jump squats, lats.
We'll do a little bench press for Kiryu. I can see too, like there's some things on there. It looks like it increases like certain strength or things like that.
Yep.
All right.
So you gotta
press rapidly.
Yeah, you gotta press rapidly. Basically at the same time, essentially.
Yep. Okay. You got this, Kiryu.
Yep.
I'm a little off. What if I just? You got it, Kiryu.
Yeah, you gotta get them both up.
Okay, well, that was okay. But I think it's a matter of how many reps I do.
Yep.
And not just like, can I fill it up? I wanted to see him raise like half of it, and then them just be like, no. Yeah, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I think you have to. It requires more button presses for each rep you do.
He has very white teeth, which gets me. Video game teeth are a particular focus of mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there were really white teeth in Resident Evil 7. So I asked their producer Masuchika Kawada. I was like, "What is up with these teeth?" And they were like, "Oh, we use like this special technology." So now you.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if Kiryu has that too. I don't know. I get obsessed about teeth.
It's
like I got really distracted because I was like, oh, Kiryu.
Next time I go talk to development,
I think I'm gonna have to.
About their teeth,
I'm gonna send in some questions, and I'm just gonna be like, can you tell me about Kiryu's teeth?
Teeth technology.
Like 100%. Yeah. I think we're doing something similar here too. Oh, it's down there. Oh, I see it.
You
now.
gotta get it in the little red thing.
Oh no, I'm so bad at it.
Oh, that's good.
I'm not good at all.
Gotta lead it a little bit, maybe.
I'm not sure why it's telling me bad at the bottom. Because I get it back and they're like,
great.
great.
I think you have to hit it twice.
Oh, I see.
Hit it again.
Like that.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, I see. I'm a dummy. I was like, I feel like I'm not doing terrible. And now this guy's going to tell me, Kiryu, you can probably do better. Oh, actually, he's being very nice about it.
Well, that's the trainer. He's supposed to encourage you.
I guess.
But he just wants you to show back up.
No slacking. I slack all the time.
That's the whole thing. Is like just show up and press play. All right, that's all you gotta do. Show up.
Talk about my diet.
Show up to the gym.
I'm gonna sabotage this. I'm gonna find pizza, cover it in chocolate.
You should go to the Wild Buffalo and buy a whole bunch of like fried stuff.
Just like I've done
with like French fries and stuff.
Yeah. Like massive bags full of takoyaki or something.
Oh, one of it was really subtle. See right here, there's actually italics in the
could. So emphasis
like,
on the syllables.
We actually built that into this. Probably the first Yakuza game that we actually were able to have italics in, which is like.
See, now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna pay attention just purely to that.
Well,
and
that's
see if
the
I
thing.
can ever. So now everybody's gonna look for like one italic and they'll be like,
The thing is that like it seems like such a subtle thing, but there's a lot of games that don't have italics as part of like the text subsystem. And it's like one of those, as a localizer, we're just like, yes, italics. That it's just it's like a whole brave new world of new possibilities and expression kind of thing. So
would that ever be something that say, because I mean you're doing this in different phases or things like that. Would you ever hear how a character speaks for some reason and maybe go back and change that emphasis later? Or is this something that you kind of do when you're already localizing that line?
So again, one of the things we always do is starting with Yakuza Zero, one of our like kind of, one of our mantra points of how we do this is that you're supposed to be able to kind of link what you're hearing to what you're seeing
on the screen.
So we do try to the extent possible, we do try to go through and on the localization side to try to go through and listen to what people are saying and kind of make sure that timing-wise everything's kind of lining up, as long as we're not sacrificing readability / intelligibility.
Right.
But yeah, there are some times when they do go, the team does go through and they're like, hey, he's really hitting this word. I'm going to hit an equivalent word to make sure that at least it gives the impression that in Japanese that was the word that the character was hitting.
Makes sense. I pulled up our wonderful phone.
Yeah,
he says pork slices and like rice.
Yeah.
I'm not going to listen to you, buddy. Can't stop me.
Pork slices and rice. Hey, rice is a carb.
Rice is good. Well,
ramen ramen is a carb. Ramen has pork on it. Same thing.
Well, let's see what we're gonna do.
Okay. Is there any ramen?
Garden. I'm gonna send him a picture of a burger.
Yeah, that's good.
I respect Kiryu. I like the integrity of the Yakuza games, but no, I'm gonna send him a picture of a gosh darn burger. I'm gonna beat up these guys again though. There's always guys for me to beat up. You would think after a while, everybody in Kamurocho would be like, we're never touching this guy again. But lo and behold.
Have you ever had the opportunity to go to Shinjuku and walk around this area in Japan?
Gosh, no, I've never had that opportunity.
It's amazing. It actually looks just like this. This plaza area is like
just walk around.
It's really there.
That or like just go through Kabukicho or things like that would be really, really nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna disappoint.
Oh, and then the food pictures are just too much.
I'm gonna disappoint my guy.
Oh God.
I mean, well, technically this has pork.
Yeah, it's a pork burger.
Listen.
Yeah. With
Millennium Tower burger.
And remember, like, rice is a carb, bread is a carb, pork on top of bread.
I think he might be. Oh, look at my little belly over there, filled up when I got.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
So basically, the idea here is that once you're maxed out on food, you can't get any more experience points.
That's hysterical. I'm gonna get a burger and a shake, and my guy's gonna.
You take a picture of it.
I feel really guilty for doing it. But
hey, you worked out. You earned it.
Yeah, right. This is Kiryu's cheat day.
This is cheat day. Oh, he already responded back to you. Yeah. Oh, you got to go back and talk.
Well, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I'll be right there. Oh, look at his little kitty things. So we'll go back to this guy for sure.
Let's see what he says.
I have to imagine that he's not going to be amused. I think it's back down this way.
Yeah,
back down into the right.
Yep.
Right near. Gosh, I love Theater Square. Such a great little place.
You can actually walk into. There's like this shopping center. Okay, interesting anecdote. Okay.
I will be the judge of that.
So a couple years ago, when they were just in the process of building this game, I had the opportunity to go over on a business trip and do some stuff over there. And one of the things I was going to do was like have them show me sort of a prototype kind of version of this.
He says bummer, by the way. I thought he would be a little bit more angry.
Oh yeah, Chashi Rice Bowl.
Yeah, I messed up. So you're going over there?
Yeah. So, and it was my first time of.
Oh boy, he.
He
look at.
I think he gives you the pose.
Sad little. Oh, there he is, doing a little bit better.
Yeah. If you do a really good job, he gives you like the double arm biceps up and everything.
I really failed the meal plan. Not a bummer.
So anyway, so I actually had the opportunity to roll by now that I was very familiar with like Kamurocho by virtue of kind of working.
Yeah, working with everything.
I was like, hey, I should roll by Shinjuku and Kabukicho and like walk around and see what it's like. And so I did. I went over there and it was surprisingly similar. But one of the landmarks that I was going to go to was the Gindaku that's like on the corner there.
Yeah.
Across the way from the sort of the plaza or whatever.
Yeah, kind of adjacent there.
Yeah. And so I get to there and I get to where that Gindaku is and it's all boarded up.
Oh no.
And I'm like, oh no. Like
heartbreaking.
Yakuza is
You didn't tell me
alive.
this was gonna be a sad story.
So yeah, so what I'm like, I'm looking at it and there's a sign on this boarded up thing that's like, and I start reading it and I'm like, oh, it says they moved across the street.
Okay.
So I turned and looked across the street and there it was. They're like in the shopping center across the street. And I'm like, but are they gonna update the game to be like that? And so when I got to the office, the next day or whatever, and I was meeting with the dev team to check out the Project ROM of it, I was in there with the director, and I was like, hey, do you mind? I want to go check something out. He's like, sure, and he gives me the controller, and I run over to where this Gindaku is, and lo and behold, and you can check it out in the game, it's boarded up.
Oh, no.
And they moved it across the street. And I'm like, you guys.
See, I appreciate that, but also, again, my heart is just like, I want that place open.
Yeah, it's
there.
there. Go to it. They still have it in game. They just moved it across the street like it's moved across in real life. So,
oh, nice.
So I was really, really excited.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
So you can actually go into that shopping center now, and kind of walk around. There's not too much there, but we
can check it out. These guys talking about Saejima for a second.
Yeah, I mean,
I wasn't totally sold on when I first played Yakuza 4, and then he really grew on me.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that. A lot of people are not really into Saejima, and then he grows on you over time. He really gets good in Yakuza 5.
Yeah, he has a lot to do, which is really nice.
He's
has a big old jacket, fluffy little jacket, which is always very good.
Yeah, we have someone in the office actually working on Yakuza 5 right now.
Oh, nice.
Playing through it. She's playing through it. So.
Look at this guy. Look at those pants.
Yeah, we're actually planning at some point maybe potentially streaming Yakuza 5. So we have someone trying to get up to Haruka's part of the story.
Yeah.
Because we kind of want to play.
So you kind of go from that into.
Yeah. Because what she does in Yakuza 5 is really kind of pivotal to understanding where she's coming from. Like the very first
kind
scene.
of what she's running from.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's Yakuza 5 is interesting.
I like his tiger too. It's the little things in life that I enjoy right now. The tiger, the pants. I want to live life as bold as this guy. Don't know if I'm gonna get there though.
Yeah.
So
this guy I want to say is like a real guy as well, but
could be. Now, do you know, so the guy I was talking to in the gym before, do you know if that is also the same fellow doing that voice?
That's a good question.
That would be really surprising.
My assumption is that yes, it is, but that's not necessarily always
not
the
always,
case.
Yeah, because I was going to say, that doesn't always seem like something that would necessarily happen.
Yeah, I mean, they do try to bring it. So the development team does have like a mocap studio and like facial capture stuff in their building. So they can actually bring people in and like render them in game. Pretty easily.
Well, they're tossing in like wrestlers and a bunch of stuff too, which is pretty good.
Yeah. So it's a process, but it's something they can definitely do.
Oh gosh, good animations. Yeah. How do you decide to say "damn Skippy"? How do you decide to make him say
someone made
that?
Someone makes this decision.
Well, you don't pass that buck on though, because you must have had to. Be like, yes, of course, damn Skippy.
At that point, I'm kind of like, is that what you guys want to go with? You guys, damn Skippy? Is that what we're doing? Okay, all right.
I'm behind
that.
He kind of seems like a fellow who would say damn Skippy.
This guy, he is kind of silly.
Little foppish in some ways.
He's a little silly, yeah.
He's really selling it. He's selling that beard a little bit too. Choto. Wait.
Yep. Yeah, Kiryu's like losing his patience with this guy.
Now they're really hitting the saxophone and everything too. Yeah, Kiryu. Oh, we have to fight him. I was not expecting a fight.
Yeah, this guy's a real guy.
Well, listen, sometimes you take care of things really easily.
Yeah, well, no, that's the thing.
I think he's like a super pushover.
He was supposed to be a tough guy, but he's not.
Maybe he'll eventually get buff, and we'll have the fight of ages.
Yeah.
One day. Look at this guy. Footwork needs practice.
Yeah, man. Kiryu, if you want to talk to somebody about how to beat up dudes, you definitely.
I mean, he would definitely know.
Tips from Kiryu for sure.
He beats up every person. I think every person has at least. You're not like his friend unless he's beaten you up once. You're definitely not his friend unless he's beaten you up once, because he's beaten up all of his friends.
Everyone.
Although actually, I don't think he's ever fought Saejima. Now that we're talking about Saejima before.
Does that not happen in 4?
In 4, it's Tanemura and Akiyama.
Oh, okay.
He fights those two. I don't think he fights Saejima.
Maybe not.
Saejima and Majima fight.
Saejima and Majima. That's right. Okay. Yep. Yep.
Keeping it clear in my head. So maybe there is at least one person he hasn't fought in all of Yakuza. So we can run off and find another little quest after this as well. I say we do a quest.
Mm-hmm.
We find a mini game after that that you think would be a very fun mini game to end on.
Okay.
Is how we would handle it.
All right. It sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan.
We have a little bit of story, we have a little bit of side questing, and then of course we have the things that will distract us forever. Pachinko.
There's no
Cabaret
pachinko.
Club.
There's
There's no
there's
pachinko? You're killing me. Killing me.
Pachinko's in I think 4 and 5 only.
Oh, dang.
But the pachinko things are really
We'll
actually
manage.
Pachinko is actually really interesting.
Look, I said it because I saw.
for
Look at
the-
that. Big attack. Pachinko
big
back there.
attack.
I want it.
Pachinko is really interesting in the series because I know for a fact in Yakuza 5, since all those pachinko machines are based off of like real pachinko machines.
Makes sense.
And as a result, like all the payouts and mechanics are all identical. But since the pachinko is actually highly regulated in
Japan.
the
Trying to
the
figure out the best place
underpinnings
to
and
go.
the sort of code base the pachinko machines have is actually trade secrets.
Oh,
so
really?
So the pachinko
Sheesh.
code is like
That's too much.
It is like encoded and handed is like a separate sort of piece of code within the game. So it's actually really interesting.
I just walked into
that,
nowhere.
that those are not really like handled as
Can't
part
like
of the,
put them in there.
Yeah, it's a interesting. It was an interesting development.
Oh, these guys are definitely gonna chase me. I thought maybe I could avoid them. I'll beat them up. And if I'm right there, I actually could just walk straight into Club Sega.
You could.
All capital letters.
You
I'm
can
told.
actually go in this game. You can actually have fights in the middle of stores. You can actually
excuse me,
if
chase me.
you run into Club Sega or
We're
something.
doing it.
I think that they'll actually follow you.
Where's the door?
I know they will for
I don't know if I can.
Oh, it's maybe not Club Sega, but you can do it for
Maybe not. Now we're just in like a tight little spot. That's fine.
You could run into like a convenience store and they'll follow you into the convenience store, and then you'll break everything, and then at the end of the fight, the convenience store clerk will be like, "Get out of here!"
Oh no,
He'll
that
get all-
seems really
he'll
bad.
get all mad at
I do
you.
have a baseball bat. I can do some fun stuff with that. Oh, it's so. Oh, buddy,
Ow,
that's real.
on his head.
I love heat actions, but again, it's pretty rough. All right. I mean, if we're right here, we might as well.
Yeah, let's hop in here.
Oh boy,
So
What do we got?
There's
Outrun?
There's Outrun. There's
we got Hang On. Absolutely. Thank you, Yu Suzuki.
yeah. And I think
Space Harrier.
up on top there's some more stuff as well.
Oh, let's check it all out.
There's dart. I know there's darts upstairs.
Gosh, I remember.
I
Not
thi- I
quite
think if you wanna-
Yakuza.
if you wanted to play Puyo or Virtua Fighter, you have to go to the other one. Or is that?
Well,
which
is
one
this
that's
Puyo?
that's Fantasy.
No,
Zone.
it's Fantasy Zone. I couldn't tell for a minute.
Yeah.
I think about all the time I lost, not in Yakuza at least, but in Shenmue playing Space Harrier.
Space Harrier.
Tons of Space Harrier.
Space
but
Harrier is important.
I say we hop on Outrun for a minute.
Let's go. That's
Gosh.
now. This is Hang On.
Oh, hang on. Outrun was in the
Right.
corner.
Yep.
I'm not good at Hang On.
Have you ever gotten on one of these kits?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really interesting. They're almost like when you get on them now. If you ever happen to find one in Japan, they feel very like you're riding an antique.
I knew all sorts of
They're
really great
super
places.
interesting.
Hello.
Hello.
Somebody's.
I thought, but I thought maybe people would enjoy seeing you two face off in Virtua Fighter 5.
We could do Virtua Fighter 5.
Just a
Can I
thought.
get out of here?
We have to actually back out to the main menu to do that.
We are told that there is Virtua Fighter 5 that we can show off.
We can. Yes.
And Puyo Puyo.
And Puyo.
We both
How would
have
I
the
get out of here?
We'd have to Oh yeah, that's
Yeah, there we go. We can show it off. I think we have the other controller. Actually, I think that's kind of cool. I see you. People sneaking up behind me asking what we can do, but yeah, we can get it going on. There might be a little connection there that we can try out. Show off some mini games. Mini games. I said it very weird. Yeah. We'll plug everything.
I'll
in.
be
Aniki,
I-
brother. I know that one. Well,
Yes.
Big Brother.
Yeah.
You said it right there, but you could have said that one out loud, and I could have told you.
We actually, so this is an example. So we actually use the word Aniki in the translation in this game. This is one of the reasons it's here, because one of the characters that you meet at the very beginning of the game in Onomichi constantly refers to Kiryu as Aniki.
As Aniki.
And so, and since it, again, like we said, since we want to try to reflect what you're hearing as closely as possible, you don't need to leave it connected.
Yeah,
It just
look at
need- it
us
just
in the
needs
middle
to-
of a stream.
Just needs to sync up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guessed. I don't think you need to sign in.
No.
Because I'll beat your butt. That's for sure. And then I think, what,
Okay,
we
so
go to the main menu?
yeah, hit the options button,
Okay.
and then go to settings, and there should be a quick game.
Boom. I have not saved manually.
fine.
Oh, no. It's not my save game. Not my save game I'm messing up. Aniki, because I...
Yeah, and so we wanted to kind of leave that word in the, because we can't really say Big Brother because it's just weird.
Big bro. You don't say Big Bro
it's
very
still
often.
Weird. It's still kind of a weird thing. All right, you go to 2-player versus minigames.
We'll do it.
So
Street Fighter, Virtua Fighter 5. I said Street Fighter. Let's try it. I'm not good at Puyo. I'm terrible at Puyo, unfortunately.
Okay, Puyo is all practice.
Yeah, I know. I've never been able to get the hang of it.
So
I've tried.
Am I gonna get my? Am I gonna get?
I think. Well, I don't know. I've never.
Hurt
Oh,
here?
this is like wow. That's a lot going on. I'm just playing a random character.
That's what pros do right there.
I don't know. What do I do? Aha. How do I?
Circle.
I'm hitting the wrong button.
Because it's the Japanese
That's right.
version.
You have it all down on. You have it on the desktop here, like you're playing with a proper stick.
Yeah, because I can't do fighting. I can't do fighting games. I'm a stick player.
This is actually. I'm kind of really surprised that this is just like straight up Virtua Fighter 5.
Yep.
Chilling here. Not to sound.
And it actually looks a little bit better than like the PS3 version because it's actually a.
That's so weird. This
yes,
is so weird. I thought like maybe like Virtua Fighter 2 or something like smaller. This is like proper. That's so silly to me. I love it, but it's also. I'm very taken aback.
Yeah, it's like why? Hey, why not? You know.
Yeah, well, that's what they said at Jurassic Park. They said, "Hey, why not?" And then it was a disaster. But this does not seem like a disaster. You might get me. That's so silly. Okay, what do we got? Oh, gosh darn. Localization, my face. I don't know what I meant by that. I meant something. Oh boy. Oh no. Oh no. Can you ring out in Virtua Fighter?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't push me over there.
That's an entire strategy.
Watch, what if I... Are you gonna fall for it? Oh, you're gonna edge me more and more.
I was trying to edge you out.
I was like, let's go to that edge.
You only get the two fall hits.
You're going down low. That's so. It's so interesting to go from sort of the combat that you have in Yakuza to go to this, and I guess you can kind of see the extension of it, of like a lot of what like Virtua Fighter and like the older arcade games built that you find in Yakuza. Because in some ways, walking around Kamurocho and Yakuza can feel a little bit like a Streets of Rage, River City Rampage type thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you got me.
Yeah, I mean that's what a lot of people say is that. You know,
It definitely has that sort of feel to it.
Yeah, the Yakuza is sort of the spiritual successor to Streets of Rage. It's like Streets of Rage's story.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. I don't remember how to do anything in this game. Oh, well, go big or go home. All right, not bad.
It's too bad I can't be too much flashier.
No. Well, I mean, Virtua Fighter's kind of flashy, but it's not. We're not doing a Marvel versus Capcom
Yeah, no,
type
it's
thing
definitely
here.
not. It doesn't have the all the effects. It's supposed to be kind of like the realistic one of
I
all
was
of them.
not expecting. I know that we had mentioned it, that this was a possibility, and it's the thing we got reminded for. But it was also like, I guess I was not expecting it just like, honestly, really, to just be straight up Virtua Fighter.
It's straight up Virtua Fighter.
Which is really surprising to me.
Oop, bad.
Oh, I see. Looking at your combos.
That's not what I meant to do. Okay.
Figuring it out. Yeah, look at the way you're holding that controller. Looks good. Oh, boy. No knockouts here. You know, this is a little cage.
No, so the interesting thing about this Virtua Fighter is like, so in these sort of wall matches, the hitting people against the walls like opens up different types of like combos and different types of things.
You're kind of like banging them on and off and everything, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, you got me good.
And they have different properties, and you can all this other stuff. So like it changes the gameplay in a different kind of way.
Now, why is Master Chief not in this one after he was in or is that Dead or Alive? He was in. He's in one of them, which was just like hysterical to me. We should probably have him in here anyway. They should have Kiryu in here, is what they actually should.
Yeah,
do.
they should have Kiryu in here. Maybe if we one day if we get Virtua Fighter 6, we can do that.
I chose a character that I am not feeling. I chose him because I liked the vague luchador type thing, and then turns out I was a fool because you're gonna beat the heck out of me. That's what I
Yeah,
get for.
well, you got me last time, so.
I guess, but like, I thought I was gonna be like the best lucha libre, which isn't happening.
It just wasn't meant to be.
No, not in the cards. Yeah, see. Now you're just going. You were going easy on me in the first one.
No, I was just using the character I didn't really know how to use.
Oh, there. Yeah, see, bouncing up against the wall a little bit.
Oof.
I wanted to try and follow up, and I couldn't.
I double dodged, and I didn't mean to double dodge.
I say we can follow up on this. We can, if we go into a save that you enjoy, we can do one last side quest that you really, really like. If you have any that you think are really cool.
We could run into Onamichi and see if there's something.
We could see,
yeah. I can point you to one in Onamichi.
That's good, that's good. I remember, I was telling you guys, I was telling folks, every time I used to talk about this game was at E3, it was me and Alex Navarro from Giant Bomb, and we were chasing a Roomba as Kiryu, which I thought was a silly little side quest. I haven't seen any Majima today, though.
Majima doesn't have a big role in this game, actually.
I mean, that sort of happens.
He's not the focus, so.
He doesn't do as much. Like he's important in 4, but he doesn't do as much. Or I'm thinking 3, excuse me. Where he doesn't do as much, I think, in that one. In 4 is like when he comes back and does a lot more stuff because Saejima comes in and all that stuff going on.
Yep.
I think 3 he actually spends in prison for a lot of it.
So
I might be wrong.
So for this one, you're going to need to hit the touchpad button. Yep.
There it is. Yeah, we can end on one more side quest. Look at that. Man, again, he's always right there.
Okay, let's see.
Bold man.
We're going to go to... There should be a premium adventure...
Right there?
No, not that one. Oh, wait. Yes, that one.
This one?
Yes.
That looks like a shirtless Kiryu. He's looking really good.
Yeah, because the idea is that he's down and he's out in the countryside.
Oh, is this starting a new game?
Oh, no. Yeah, just hit normal.
Okay. Wasn't sure. Don't need to save.
Wait. What happened? Back out of this real quick?
I will back out.
Back out.
Hoop.
Hit continue one more time.
Yes.
And then hit down to premium adventure. See what...
I think it was treating it as a...
Okay, so on this one... just
select no to continue exploring the world at your leisure.
Yeah.
That's me not reading. That's
So-
why, again, you do the localization and I just write words.
So interestingly enough, I mentioned a little bit earlier that I lived in Japan for a couple of years, and as it turns out, the place I lived was Onomichi.
Oh, there you go.
So that was really weird.
It's like coming home. Oh, look at this is like pure dad Kiryu with the thing off.
So yeah, so the idea is that he's out here in the countryside, and he's not really. Here, go down.
Yeah.
Let's go.
This way. Oh, that's blocked off.
Yeah, go to the right.
Yeah, this
and
way.
Go down. We'll take a stroll through the sort of hillsides of Onomichi.
Oh, this is very rustic.
So Onomichi, this place, the dev team have done an amazing job of like recreating this town.
Look at these side streets.
It's on these. So Onomichi is this sort of a port town by the ocean. Take a left here. And it's famous for its like temples and being sort of a place where the like artists and like writers go to like chill and take in and get away from it all. And they've done just this amazing job of recreating this sort of hillside back streets.
Yeah, look at this. This is really neat.
Of the town. So if you ever have an opportunity to go out to Onomichi, you'll
end up going at some point.
You'll feel super at home.
I did see very briefly. Oh, it pulled it up. I was like, oh, I remember Kiryu has an app for helping people.
That's right, Troubler.
Yeah,
Troubler. So these are like little side missions that pop up to kind of spice things up, and they're like little, like super mini side stories.
Yeah.
And you just sort of.
A little shrine too.
Yeah. So you can go here and you can pray at the shrines and
Absolutely.
like raise certain stats. I'll give you like temporary bonuses for the next time you're in battle.
Oh, actually, yeah. There's a bunch of different ones for each statue.
Yep. So you offer like a little item up, and you'll get like a little boost.
Interesting.
For the time being.
Nice little stuff.
Let's go down the stairs here. And
yeah, of course.
We're gonna kind of cross the street.
Like that sunset.
And see if we can find something.
Cozy little place.
They actually have some tie-ups here as well that have like different.
I almost got hit by a car.
go across the street into this sort of shopping center.
Yeah. Into here?
Yeah, keep going. I think you might.
I think I might run into some dudes. Look at these hard, tough dudes. Tough boys. Low lives. They feel it. Let's beat him up. Can I take his knife? Come on, game. Let me have that. I beat them all up. I was gonna do heat, but I didn't get to. Let me run on down here again. Whoa.
What was that? Oh, look up.
Maybe he was like trying to pose with me. Maybe he realized who I was. I'm a pretty big deal. I'm Kazuma Kiryu. Where to?
It looks like the.
We can check the map if we want.
Go over this. Go into this area right here. I think the sub story that I was looking for may not be triggering right now. So,
that's all right.
Yeah.
We at least get to show off.
We
this
could go
area.
to here. We could go look at the snack bar. The snack bar mini game. Which is
I think it's like over here, huh? If I'm
yeah,
looking on the menu.
If you keep going to the
oh yeah,
down the street,
other side.
It's like on the far side of the.
Looked like there was a side path.
Yeah, I keep going straight down that street.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing again. It's hard for me to see the map where I'm
so
at.
it's this thing right here in front of you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we can go on in.
So one of the new mini games in this particular title is this ability to like hang out with the locals and like
just like mix it.
Yeah, you just
chill.
And there's these like interesting. This was actually a really like a huge like localization challenge because there's a lot of like timing based kind of stuff, and you have all these different characters that you kind of unlock as you befriend them.
I feel like I'm walking into the Yakuza version of Cheers. A little bit.
That's actually a very interesting comparison.
Hey, Norm.
So you can either do karaoke here. You could also talk to these people.
Let's
and
talk
kind
to
of,
folks for a second.
So this guy, when you first meet him, once you remember old talks.
To kind of go back and
talk
to
so you can see what some of his early things. So this guy right here, when you first meet him, he's actually doesn't really like you very much. And so as you kind of drink and get to know him,
let's see how they are doing right now. Look at that. Chill and talk.
Yeah.
Although if there is karaoke here, we could
there's karaoke in the
possibly hit that up in a second. That could be a great finisher.
Yeah.
Great, wonderful, bold finisher.
Yep.
Darts.
There's also darts as well.
Oh, over here. I really appreciate that one of the first things you do in Yakuza 0 is just sing your little heart out.
Yep.
That's really, really good. Yeah, look at all of this, huh?
The song for this game is "Today Is the Diamond." That's the
Today is the Diamond.
That is the.
Okay. I say we'll end with this. We'll end with the theme, the wonderful theme. This has been really, really good. I'm probably gonna do terrible. We'll see. Look at him.
So they reinvented the.
Yeah, it looks a little different.
The karaoke for this game. I think it actually is. The interesting thing about the new mechanic is that it allows them to make more complicated button patterns because it's presented in a different way and allows you to react to it, and it's more consistent. So, it's definitely an improvement.
I think it's more readable for sure.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the things with the other stuff that I had a little bit of trouble reading it every now and then. But that happens too when things start getting more wild in the background. It's like I'm already messing up.
Well, it's hard to play the games and talk at the same time.
Oh, I'm doing all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. I want to see inside the booth where all these fellows get to perform this stuff because I think it'd be hysterical.
This is actually so. The in Onimichi they have these snack bars that are literally like this. Like you show up and it's like a whole bunch of old dudes drinking, and
I've never gone to like a small place like this.
Yeah, this is what
we definitely have on our staff. We have our wonderful Nathan Grayson who is super into karaoke. Every time he comes here, we have to go do it.
Yeah,
I think I did pretty good. I think I did okay.
We'll see.
Brilliant. Did a brilliant
that
job.
high score is probably Scott's.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
He's just.
Yeah, Yeah, so I think that was actually really, really good. So this is Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. He didn't feel too good about that one. I felt great about that one. I feel great about this game too. So that was just a little bit of it.
Yeah,
We're getting into the story.
just a little bit. I mean, we're really only like touched the surface.
Scratching that surface. This is coming out in March.
Yes, it's coming out in March.
So that's wonderful. So this was Heather. I was here, senior localization producer.
Thanks for
Sam
having me,
Mullen.
Heather.
This was actually really, really fun. I really enjoyed myself.
I had a great time.
Yeah, of course. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you around.
Yep. Take
Bye.
it easy, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.